we've done it. For the third time I can say that I've done it, because the third completion of this retro and review series. Now I've watched all WrestleManias, all the Royal Rumble matches, and all the SummerSlams up to date. That's what it is. As we are now on the final review, well, retro review at least, of this review series for my SummerSlam series. As I said before, I'm not doing 2017 SummerSlam again because I've already, well, again, wasn't a great show, 2017 SummerSlam. However, though, I'm mainly not going to do it because I've already done a live review on it. So that's why I don't want to go back and waste my time on it again. So 2016 will be the last for the retros, and of course I will add my SummerSlam 2017 review to this playlist, and so on as the years go by on this channel. But yeah, guys, we made it. We're on the 29th edition of my SummerSlam retro and review series. We take a look back at SummerSlam 2016. This show, how do I best describe this show? I enjoyed it, but at the same time, I didn't. It was a show that the biggest problem I had with this SummerSlam was the card structure. The card was not structured properly. And a show like this is what made me realize, having your card structure is important because, if you have like a match that's going to, set the bar so high for the rest of the show, like in the middle of the show, like this show did. Actually, wasn't quite even halfway through the show. We already had our match of the night pretty much, and nothing else could really top it. It kind of burns out the crowd. This was the first pay-per-view. Well, not the first one, but the first SummerSlam though, since the brand split came back. The brand split returned the week before Battleground 2016, the draft, and Battleground 2016 was pretty much which of the titles actively were going to which brand and whatnot. That's, what that pay-per-view was treated like. SummerSlam 2016 was, like it debuted the Universal Championship, which, oh boy, we'll talk about that title towards the end. There was a lot of loopholes on the SmackDown brand at first because, well, now it's SmackDown Live, because there really wasn't much on there besides just the WWE, well, it was the World Heavyweight Championship, then became just the WWE World Championship, and then it was just the WWE Championship. But this show, it was called the World Championship, and the Intercontinental Championship were only titles on SmackDown. It was, of course, after SummerSlam, they brought in a SmackDown Tag title and a SmackDown Women's titles also as well. The Cruiserweights weren't here yet. The Cruiserweights came, I think, the week or two before Clash of Champions, the first Raw exclusive pay-per-view. So this show, again, was like, still like, a reflection of how, there were still some cracks in the system from the brand split, since, Raw's side had a lot of star power. SmackDown's not as much. I mean, despite the inconsistencies, again, this was still a good SummerSlam. I do recommend checking it out, but definitely it was an inconsistent show, I gotta say. So, let's get right rolling and let's wrap up this series. We are on August 21st, 2016, once again at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. We opened up with a tag match from Raw. It was Enzo and Cass taking on Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens. This was pretty much, the beginning of the formation of Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens alliance. Leading up to their, year-long story leading up to their feud for WrestleMania, which was pretty good. A lot of people, looked down on the match they had at WrestleMania 33. I don't know why. I mean, yeah, it could have been a little bit better, but I still thought it was a good match for WrestleMania to help put over Kevin Owens on WrestleMania, I thought. But this match is pretty much, again, it was weird because, Kevin Owens just ended his rivalry with Sami Zayn. And Sami won the rivalry, but here's Owens on the main show. Sami's on the pre-show, and then a week later, Owens is the Universal Champion. Oh, what's up? Oh, hello? Oh, hey, Road Dogg, I don't want to talk to you. Yeah, I understand wins and losses don't matter in opinion, but I don't give a shit. Pretty much that stuff. But anyways, this is a tag match. Let's get these two teams on the show, and I thought it was a pretty solid opener. I thought between the two of them, I thought they would give Enzo and Cass the win here, since they were the younger team, more upcoming, whatnot. They're in their hometown. I thought it was give them some more momentum moving forward over a team like Owens and Jericho. But this is also the start of right before they're about to give Owens and Jericho like a nice lengthy push as well, because either, because the rumors have it, even if well, we all know Finn Balor won the Universal Championship here and then he had to drop it because of his shoulder injury, but either way, Owens was supposed to feud with Balor for the Universal title. So I guess giving Jericho, well, I hate calling him that, but Owens and Jericho the victory here was okay to definitely get their momentum going to see where things go next. So didn't really hurt Enzo and Cass that much, but they never really, again, they were still they were still in a good position, I felt, this time. It's just later in the year, I think when I got that Rusev feud, that's where they tanked, pretty much. But the match I thought was pretty solid, some good action back and forth. Of course, Cass got a little more offense in and continued to show, even whenever Enzo was gone for a couple weeks due to that concussion in the summer. Cass was shown he did have good singles potential. Unfortunately, neither of them are still around anymore because they were both released this year on separate occasions due to different things, but we're not going to talk about that. But Jericho and Owens get the win with the combo finisher, like the pop-up powerbomb into the code breaker, which was pretty sick on Enzo to get the victory and to start the momentum for their newly formed alliance, pretty much. So solid opener. I enjoyed it between the two of them. We had some backstage segment with Shane McMahon, Daniel Bryan, Mick Foley, talking when Jon Stewart and his kid rolls up and they're talking about some things, and then Jon Stewart is questioning Mick why he decided to work with Stephanie on Raw and whatnot, which I agree with anything. Why would anyone want, especially on as good of a person as Mick Foley is, well, character wise, why would they want to work with Stephanie McMahon? But then Stephanie was up behind and whatnot, and things just got awkward, and then Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods came around the corner because this is where Big E was written off because of ring postitis. Not want to get too deep into that feud yet. And they took Jon Stewart and his kid with them, and Stephanie's misunderstood. So weird segment backstage. The second match was for the Women's Championship. It's just the only women's title we had at the time. This is also, of course, the first year the women's title was back and not the Divas Championship. That was retired at WrestleMania 32. Thank goodness. But it was a rematch from the Raw in Pittsburgh, Raw 25th. I mean, not Raw 25th. July 25th. Sorry, big botch there. 2016, right here in Pittsburgh, PA. Again, unfortunately, I was not there that Raw. I wish I was. It was an awesome episode of Raw. And one thing that was awesome about it, I think I picked this as my women's match of the year when Sasha Banks defeated Charlotte for the women's championship. There was the rematch here, and it kind of, for the most part, told almost like the same story for the most part. Charlotte was trying to prove that, Sasha's win over her was a fluke, pretty much. Of course, again, Sasha suffered kind of a back injury during this match, and Charlotte took advantage of it. But it was still some good back and forth action. It felt very similar to how the match was on the Raw, on the July 25th episode of Raw. It felt similar to that, but it was still good. I enjoyed watching it. I really thought that Sasha was going to retain here. I really thought she was, but of course Sasha, this is the beginning of us finding out that Sasha does not do well in rematches for the Women's Championship. But so then what happened was when Sasha had Charlotte in the bank, saying Charlotte took advantage of Sasha's bad back, and I don't know, just rolled her up to get the victory. I was like, whoa, okay there. So Charlotte won the Women's Championship back, which was starting off that storyline more of how Charlotte was undefeated in championship matches on pay-per-views. Pretty much that was heavily protected, even though they ended it randomly at Fastlane against Bayley, which was just very stupid later on that year, well, early in 2017. But so Charlotte wins. She's your new Raw Women's Champion. Just regular Women's Champion, because there was still just one champion at the time. They didn't have the SmackDown one, wasn't active yet. But yeah, so Charlotte gets the win, and she's now a 2-time Women's Champion. The next match, first we had a backstage segment with the Club in their laboratory, continuing to try to find a cure for ring postitis. I won't get into that because we all know those segments sucked. But then AJ Styles came up and they started chatting because they were separated from the brand split. Styles went to SmackDown, the Club went to Raw, and they started chatting about how tonight the Club will make a statement and become the new tag team champions, and then AJ Styles was going to go ahead and Say it with me, guys. Beat up John Cena, and then they do the little too sweet thing. But then it was to the side, and there was also a former Bullet Club member in New Japan, Finn Balor, and he refused to do the too sweet. He just walked away. That was that. I still wonder, what they were going to do if Balor never got hurt. I mean, they could have done something involving another club and Balor, since they're both on Raw. Who knows? But that was that pretty much. We then had The Miz with Maurice taking on Apollo Crews for the Intercontinental Championship. I mean, here's the thing. At the time, I still was not, too crazy about The Miz being champion, because I just still wasn't that behind him. His feud with Ziggler, and of course, his verbal assaults on Daniel Bryan on Talking Smack is what got me to take The Miz more seriously. I still have not taken The Miz seriously yet. Apollo Crews, of course, was someone that I wanted to see become successful in the main roster, because at the time, and still is, his main roster run's been absolute crap. And I really thought him being on SmackDown would give him the opportunity to grow and become a star. I'm yawning, don't worry. But unfortunately, it did not work, because all I remember from this feud was that The Miz kept calling him Apollo Creed. And Crews like, it's Crews, Crews. And the match they had was just meh. It was okay. It wasn't really anything too great. I mean, I really wanted to see Apollo win and get some momentum going for him, but he did not. The Miz retained. I was disappointed to not see Apollo win, but The Miz eventually would go on to have a great feud with Dolph Ziggler, so that didn't happen. If he didn't win, we would not have gotten that. So Miz wins. He retains. There we go. And of course, we had this was match of the night. This should have been either later in the show. This could have even been the main event of this pay-per-view, because this match was a classic. It's still, in my opinion, one of my favorite matches of all time, and it was my pick for match of the year in 2016. John Cena versus AJ Styles, the second one-on-one match between them. They had their first one at Money in the Bank in 2016, where Styles won, but he had a little bit of help from the club at the end, but nothing like that that bad to make Styles look that weak. They lost in a six-man tag match with against John Cena and Enzo and Cass. And then this match again, this is it was around the time where Cena was getting ready to go on leave again for another filming. So, but then again, we all know that Cena always has to get that win back and whatnot. But boy, was this match unreal. Again, I love this match. This whole story there of Styles, wanting to prove the critics wrong, that he can beat John Cena to make a name of himself. He wanted to beat up John Cena, showed he can do it without the club, because that was a storyline going into, Money in the Bank. Cena brought out 2 contracts. One was for just a one-on-one match, the other one was to have the club at ringside, but he wanted to, see if Styles would prove himself. Because as I said before, probably like in another video or so earlier I did for my special live stream, like AJ Styles being a heel was not for him just to be a bad guy and get people to boo him. It was more so because just he needed to light that fire in him and find those microphone skills to improve. Because as a babyface, when he first came in, he was fine, but he definitely could do a little better with the microphone skills, and he had to still learn a different avenue. Work with WWE, because other promotions is not the same thing, of course, as Chris Jericho mentioned in his Inside the Ropes interview. But yeah, the near falls was close. Like near falls were done so well. You didn't know when someone was going to win this match. Of course, things changed though towards the end. I still will not forget when Cena hit that Avalanche AAA for the second or third rope. Keep in mind, as I remember mentioning back in 2016. That was the same move Cena used on Styles to beat him in that tag match at Battleground. And Styles kicked out of that. The look on Cena's face just told the whole story. Like, this is serious here. AJ Styles really is here to be, the next face that runs the place. And as he called himself later down the line, the champ that runs the camp. And then, Styles Cena kicked out of one phenomenal forearm. Styles kicked out of an AA, I remember. I think he also kicked out of a Styles Clash. Well, Cena kicked out of a Styles Clash. But then I won't forget towards the end where Styles just ripped off that armband. And he hit Cena with his bare elbow to get the victory. I won't forget. Everyone, my friends, we all went nuts. We were shocked again. It was an unpredictable win. It was just awesome. It was just a great match to see with these two. It was a great way to really put over AJ Styles and prove that he is truly a main eventer in the WWE, and to prove that he belongs there as well. And then it proved that he was pretty much in line to become the next world champion pretty much on SmackDown. And to have SmackDown Live become the house that AJ Styles built. Of course, after the match, though, John Cena sat in the ring, accepting his loss. He took his never give up armband off, placed it in the middle of the ring, and walked away. However, though, they never really did anything involving that. Why did Cena do that, whatnot? I would have liked to have seen them explore that a little bit instead of just coming back and act like he could just get another championship match against Styles, which was set up for that triple threat at No Mercy, which is a really good triple threat match between Styles, Dean Ambrose, and John Cena. And also, eventually did lead to Dean Ambrose pinning John Cena clean on SmackDown also. But man, an amazing match again. My match of the night at SummerSlam. Set the bar, though, so high. It was only the 4th match, and we still had 6 matches left. Yeah, that's why I said before. Card structure, this probably should have been later in the show. This really burned out the crowd. So, the next match. Now, before the match started, we had Jon Stewart come out. It was obvious he was high on something, because he was just... Or he just sounded like he was drunk, pretty much. And he pretty much was out there first saying he learned his lesson from last year when he costed John Cena his championship match. He used a steel chair on him. And then he also has mentioned he's an honorary member of the New Day since Big E was written off because he got hit, where the sun does not shine, which is why the club is looking for a cure to ring postitis, which, that was funny at first, but then it was not the club. The club is not meant for comedy. But the club came out, and so did Kofi and Xavier. Now, usually they mention also how it's usually Kofi and Big E who are wrestling the tag match. And Xavier is on the side playing the trombone usually. That wasn't the case this time because Xavier had to defend. Of course, months later they started making Xavier Woods look pretty strong also, so that way, he's not like the weak link of the group or whatnot. But honestly, I thought at first this was setting up for the New Day to split up. I thought Big E was going to, turn on the New Day and blame them, claim that, they're nothing without him pretty much and whatnot. The match they had with Kofi, Xavier Woods, and the club honestly was not that bad. I watched it again. I thought it was still, a decent tag match for what it was. But then what hurt this was it turned into an angle. Because towards the end of the match, they're about to try to do the same thing to Jon Stewart that they did to Big E. And then Big E returns and attacks the club and saves them. But it causes a disqualification. And then he goes over to, the table with, the whole ring postitis stuff on there. And he drinks from his. Ugh, that was disgusting, I thought it was. So, a match at SummerSlam turns into an angle. And it's not the only time this happened in this show. Why? Why couldn't, Big E come out, after the match was over when there was actually a decisive winner, pretty much? You know what I mean? Why did we have to treat more like an angle at, a show like this? I say, at a big event, SummerSlam or WrestleMania, I'm not a big fan at all of, matches being treated like, angles, just, further storyline. Isn't this where you want to have the best happen at, you know what I mean? So, the New Day retain their tag titles, and they go on to feud again for another month with the club. Of course, we all know that went terrible because of the whole Old Day thing. This feud just was not that good. I mean, it was at a time where it's I liked the New Day, but I really felt that the iron was hot for the club, and they should have won the tag titles. And they did not, and after that, the club just went downhill. But, that was that pretty much. Afterwards, we had the World Championship match. Dean Ambrose versus Dolph Ziggler. Watch this match again, it was not that bad. But I do agree, well, besides the fact that the crowd was just burned out, especially, that New Day match didn't really help much at all. I expected a little bit better from these two. I mean, the match was a little slow. Dolph's near falls Dolph didn't really have any big dramatic near falls. I felt. I mean, the story being told here was interesting. Also, it being a face-on-face match, and with Ambrose trying to get inside the head of Dolph Ziggler or whatnot, and they're both trying to mention who they are, and whatnot. I don't know, the match, like, I've seen them have matches, like, on, like, you have on Raw and whatnot, one-on-one matches. I thought these two always put on pretty good matches. Unfortunately, though, for, like, a world title match again, it was, I'd say, decent to solid, but I expected a lot better from these two, definitely. Dean Ambrose would, of course, go on to retain the championship, because he would then keep it until Backlash when he dropped it to AJ Styles, which was weird, because, Dean Ambrose was a good champion, he deserved to be champion, but, AJ Styles' momentum just picked up big time after SummerSlam, so that's why I'm like, sorry, but you gotta hand that title over to AJ, and that's pretty much happened at Backlash. So Dean Ambrose retains his championship in a decent to solid match, but it definitely could have been better. We then had this 6-woman tag match, pretty much just to give the SmackDown women some time to shine on SummerSlam. It was supposed to be Becky Lynch, Naomi, and Carmella taking on Natalya, Alexa Bliss, and Eva Marie. But this was just a couple days after Eva Marie was suspended. They did her entrance, and then they teased she was coming out, but then they said she's not here because of, I forgot what they mentioned. So she's on a vacation. Well, she was not on no vacations. Even after her suspension for violating the wellness policy was done, she never came back. And to replace her was Nikki Bella, making her surprise return after being out since, I think it was October, because she had that neck surgery in January. Now, the thing is, she returned as a heel, but if you remember the night after, 2 nights after on SmackDown, she pretty much was a baby face. I mean, when she was interviewed after SummerSlam, she acted like a baby face. I mean, she was obviously, cheered for like a baby face. Of course, this would lead to the double turn with her and Carmella, as Carmella turned heel, because Carmella was a face in this match. Because the 6-woman tag match was decent, wasn't anything too special. But at the time, also, I remember I was a little aggravated that they gave Nikki the win, because I love Nick. I have all respect for Nikki Bella, but I still had like the taste from the last portion of that Divas title reign still in my mouth from that, so I wasn't quite happy about that. But again, they did, not push her down our throats so much, and they did, build her up in a way that I get behind her. That after a while, I would not have minded seeing Nikki have a run with the Women's Championship on SmackDown. Honestly, I enjoyed the feud she had with Carmella and whatnot, and this was meant to just, be a thing for Nikki's return. This is the plant the seeds also for Carmella to turn heel on her the following episode of SmackDown. So decent. Again, I felt Nikki returning as a face was kind of like refreshing, even though after she was somewhat of a heel in this match, because she after the match she did her typical loser thing. I'm sorry, I hate when the Bella Twins did that. It just looks so childish. I just did not like it. But Nikki gets the win with the Rack Attack 2.0 on Carmella, which again, plant the seeds for Carmella to turn heel and Nikki to officially turn babyface, and start that feud up pretty much in the fall. So that was that. We had Rusev being interviewed by Maria Menounos about his upcoming United States Championship match. Don't remember much he really said, even though this feud between Roman Reigns and Rusev was stupid. It was pretty much just they were fighting just because Rusev interrupted. Roman Reigns interrupted Rusev's wedding celebration on Raw. Whatnot. It was a very bland story, and of course, what happened on this show between the two of them, we'll talk about that later. We're almost there, actually, though. Next match is for the debuting Universal Championship. Seth Rollins versus the Demon. I'm not calling him the Demon King. The Demon, Finn Balor, for the debuting Universal Championship. Now, rumors have it, apparently, if Roman Reigns did not get suspended for his wellness policy, he was never planning to drop the championship, and the world title, Dean Ambrose's title on this show, was meant to go to Raw, and the Universal title would have been on SmackDown, and AJ Styles would have won the Universal Championship, of course. But because he's got suspended, the plans changed, so the Universal title came to Raw. Now, this match with Rollins and Balor was really good. I mean, these two have worked very well together, and they have, they have similar styles and great chemistry. You even saw the matches they had this year also, and just appreciate how great these two work together. But of course, what hindered this match though was the fact that the crowd was not into it, and because the crowd was more focused on that stupid belt, title. Sorry, you're not allowed to say belt, but the Universal Championship was just ugly. It's literally just the same title as the the WWE Championship, and the Women's Championship, just different colors. Everything's just color coded now. But taking away from that, again, this match is good. A lot of great counters and whatnot. These two just have great styles working together. Of course, the story here, though, also was that not too far into the match, I think like about 5-7 minutes into this match, Seth Rollins was like a buckle bomb or whatever heck it is, throwing Balor into a barricade, and Balor hurt his shoulder. He popped back into place, but he tore his labrum, which, he finished the match and he won the Universal title, but unfortunately he would be out from then until the night after WrestleMania. Well, he was back earlier but on house shows, but they didn't have anything planned for WrestleMania. But stung. But it was still a great moment for Balor. It looked like they were about to give him, a good main event push when he came up, because he was well deserving of it. But of course, that injury he was taken right out of it, and now he just has not gotten that rematch for that title that he never lost. But still, a great back and forth match between these two. Again, we've seen them have how many great matches this year also as well. So this was just one of them. So Finn Balor defeats Seth Rollins to win the Universal Championship, but only have it just for 24 hours for having to relinquish it due to his injury. We were supposed to have Rusev versus Roman Reigns for the U.S. title, but when Roman came out, him and Rusev started brawling. The match never happened. It was meant to, I guess, write off Rusev for a few weeks to go on his honeymoon. They had the match on Raw, in the main event of Raw, this go-home show before SummerSlam. Why? And then they have more of an angle instead of a match at SummerSlam. Again, why? SummerSlam is not a place for just an angle like that to happen instead of a match. I still personally feel there needs to be like something there worthwhile to make it feel like it was worth being on the show. This felt like a complete waste of time on a show. Like, why did we do that? Why couldn't they have at least had a match? And, afterwards they brawl, that could have wrote Rusev off or something. Or even, have them brawl on Raw the following night, and that will write off Rusev or something. I don't know. Don't just, had the match, before, and then have this Rusev brawl with Roman. Like, why? Did not get it. Then we had our main event, Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton. 15 years in the making, whatnot, because these two have, started in WWE at the same time, but they never really crossed paths in that match until now. I was looking forward to this match. Didn't feel this should have been the main event, though. This was not really... yes, there was a story there, but it shouldn't have been the main event. My main event for this show would have either been Cena and Styles or Balor and Rollins. No. The match we had was better than I remember. Of course, because I was probably, tired and, burned out also when I watched this the first time. This time, they had some moments in there, such as, I like the spot where, Lesnar threw Orton into a table and shattered. I like the spot where Orton RKO'd Lesnar on there, and it looked like Orton was going to get a chance to win. It was, a decent match, a decent physical match for Brock, but I just didn't understand that ending. The TKO ending where Brock just takes off the glove and starts randomly just beating down Orton in the head for no reason, like busting Orton open, resulting Lesnar ending in a TKO. Like, what was the point of that? Like, was it because, Orton said that line at the highlight reel at Battleground when he pretty much said, there's only one RKO needed to put you down in Viperville. No enhancement needed, as he made the reference to Brock Lesnar's UFC suspension, which I thought was really bold. But yeah, I just didn't get that. Afterwards, Shane McMahon came out and Brock Lesnar F5'd him. So it looked like they were first going to set up a feud between Brock Lesnar and Shane McMahon, which would not have really been a big fan of. That doesn't excite me, Brock Lesnar and Shane McMahon. But, I expected better from this match. It was still decent for what it was, but what can you do? But yeah, guys, that's SummerSlam 2016. Again, had its good moments, had its moments like head scratches of like, why did this happen? Such as, the ending to the New Day and the club match, the brawl with Roman and Rusev instead of a match. Of course, the Universal title match was great, despite the fact that, people just, down the title that was there and whatnot. But either way, this is still, I thought, a solid show, despite the inconsistencies in there. So I'll give SummerSlam 2016 a B-. A B- for SummerSlam 2016. What grade would you give SummerSlam 2016? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And be sure as always to click by like and subscribe more content to come to the channel. Follow me on Twitter at TheManAir93. I want to thank you all again for watching all these SummerSlam retro reviews. If you've seen them all, please comment down in the comment section hashtag I watched them all. And also, if you want to check out my 2017 SummerSlam review, which, was one of my best reviews, but that will be added to this playlist also. And of course, any other oncoming SummerSlams will be added as well. If you want to see any other retro reviews, check out my retro reviews for my WrestleMania series and for my Royal Rumble match recap and reviews, which I will update that one with, the 2 Royal Rumble matches from this year, the men and women's match in January when it becomes Royal Rumble season again, once again. I'm not sure if I'm going to do another retro review series anytime soon. I've thought about maybe doing the other NXT takeovers that I have not watched or reviewed on his channel. I've also thought about maybe doing a review series for the WWE 24 specials. I thought about doing that as well. But there'll be some other, special review series that come again to this channel. Just not sure what it is yet. But for now, still doing, the natural, live reviews and the odds and ends here and there. Hopefully finish up with my baseball players soon, because I had a lot of them that retired after this season I just did. And then we can, get to my next Wolfenstein Let's Play. It'll be Shabs 3000. So as always, a lot of content is always coming on this channel, guys. Again, thanks again for joining in for this review series of all the SummerSlams. I had a blast. So until then, guys, I'm checking out. I will see you guys all later. Have a great night and peace out, everybody.